Bit of a long day yesterday. Left home at 8:30, got home at midnight. I managed to get myself out of bed this morning at 5 o'clock to get myself to work. Didn't feel too good this morning, to be honest. But, you know, that's what we do for the love of our team, right? We put ourselves out and we put ourselves through it because ultimately we want to get there and see our team win. And finally we got a decent result. 2-1 win against Leeds. I'll take it all day long. Even if it wasn't the best performance that I've seen for a long time. Certainly that first half was a painful watch. The lack of creativity remains. The lack of urgency, the constant sideways and backward passing, the lack of wingers running on, just painful. And you could literally feel that all the way through that first half. And the boos ringing out at half time was testament to how painful to watch that was. So before the game, I was talking to Chris, and he said to me, "You know, what do you think the score is?" And I said, "Oh, 3-0." And he was like, 3-0, really? And I went, "Yeah." And he went, "But it's the same players, right?" And I went, "Yeah, I did say that as well. It's the same players, different manager. So are we really expecting Conte to get a tune out of the same players that he had under Nuno, under Mourinho, and to a certain extent under Pochettino? But for whatever reason, Antonio Conte has filled us with this hope and this expectation, and I'm trying hard to keep myself sort of grounded on it. But before the game yesterday, I did really feel it. You know, I did really think to myself, he could, he might do something good here. So it just shows you the power of a world-class manager, and what that does to the expectation of the fans. It all kind of come crashing down for me when I saw that Winks was in the team. And we were still going with two defensive midfield players, unless he was thinking that Winks is an offensive midfield player. But for me, the only offensive thing about it is the fact that his passing is absolutely pants. I don't know what's happened to the guy, and I feel for him because I like Winks, as a person and all the rest of it, and the fact he's a Tottenham fan and he clearly wants to do well, right? It's not like he's doing it on purpose, but it's just not happening for him. It's just not going to happen, and you've got to put that sentimental attitude away. You've got to put it to one side and go, right, you've got to be more mercenary than that. If you want to be a top team, and you want your team to be a top team, then you've got to stop being sentimental and start being more ruthless around it and making those tough calls when you're saying this guy is not good enough, he's not going to make it. But overall, just trying to get back to the game, because I know I ramble. I apologise. But like I said, not a great spectacle, to be honest with you. I thought Winks was poor, as I've just said. His passing was very wayward. Didn't seem to connect anything up. Højbjerg thought he played okay, but again, a lot of opportunities. I don't get this, right? You get a free kick and you're in the middle of the park, and you turn around and pass it backwards, when the idea of a free kick is to get you on the front foot. I don't get it. And about 3 times they did that yesterday. And I'm like, what's the point? I mean, the guy behind me, he keeps going, you goes open, sarcastically going through it, and I'm like, well, it's just a bit mad, really, that we're you know, of that mindset that makes sense. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's a difficult one to call out, right? Because for me, I'm just watching it from my seat, and I'm looking across at the pitch, and what I can see is the back four with the back two, the midfield so tight against them that actually what I'm looking at is this huge gap in the middle where nothing's kind of going on, where it's all okay for Leeds to play in front of us. And to be fair, I thought Leeds were quite adventurous. That they were going for it, you know. And had they had better end product, you know, they'd have been in a better position, and we'd have been in all sorts of trouble. Certainly in that first half. Second half, different gravy. Came out a lot more intent in the game. You know, there was a lot more effort and a lot more endeavour in it all. And you know, we started to make some inroads. I felt a little bit for Harry Kane, because I felt that he was working hard. He was doing everything but you know, hitting the back of the net. A couple of opportunities he should have, rather than trying to take it on, he should have passed it and maybe made the game a little bit easier for us. But overall, I didn't think he had a terrible game, not like he has had. But again, he's got to get that service. He's got to get that service. Region was probably for me one of the better players. He, you know, apart from getting his goal, he did really well. He kept bombing up the wings, and he did put a few crosses in. So I felt that he was a bit of a bright spark. Emerson, I think he's going to be another one who divides opinion, because I didn't think he did too bad, but I have seen a lot of talk of him being quite poor, which is disappointing, you know, because for me, I thought he did all right most of the game, apart from the goal, the Leeds goal, which I thought, you know, ridiculous how he kind of, you know, he got done there, because he'd done so well holding that attack off all the time coming down that side. He'd marshalled it really, really well, but the one time he didn't, it led to a goal. I mean, to be fair, the scorer, and I can't remember what his name was, I can't remember, but he came between two defenders to actually score that goal. So, you know, is it more to do with the fact that the ball was played across, or was it more to do with the fact that the defenders didn't cut it out from the goal scorer? You know, and that's a kind of matter of opinion. But again, interesting substitutions. Clearly trying to gauge this squad and where they are and what they can actually do and what can they bring to the team. He's trying to give them a bit of an opportunity to see. Nice to see Sessegnon come back, and I thought Sessegnon, for the minutes that he played, which wasn't a lot, he actually looked quite lively. Had a couple of opportunities. You know, he was getting stuck in, so it was pleasing to see. Who was the other one who came on that I thought did okay? Sanchez, when he came on, I thought Japhet Tanganga had a decent game at the back. I thought he was playing all right. So I was surprised when he went off. But as I say, I think he's probably just looking to see what each player can bring. And when Sanchez came on, he was all right. He played okay. You know, I was quite content with him. He didn't seem to be under any kind of real pressure. Seemed to marshal stuff out quite well. A couple of times he kind of chucked himself to the floor, which I'm never a fan of. But you know, it didn't come to anything, so you've got to sort of take it that he was okay. And then there's Eric Dyer, who gets so much stick. He does get so much stick. But again, I thought we had a decent game yesterday. I didn't think he did too much wrong. The only thing I will call out, in that first half when we were so poor, how our most sort of attack-minded player was Dyer. I mean, he was coming so far forward, and he was trying to do those raking long passes that Toby Alderweireld used to do, but they're not doing them. So a little bit disappointing. He kind of pushes himself out there to try and do it, but you know, he's not going to pass like Toby he does, is he? You know, but I think unfairly he does get a lot of stick, and I think with Romero being next to him, I think that is where the partnership goes. I think having a good, strong, proper centre back with him, it may make him better, and I certainly think that he's one of them that Conte will rely on, because I think he's a man for passion and heart, rather than just a load of skill with no sort of opportunity or end product in it. And that's why I think, and I said this before, that Ndombele seems to be done and dusted, because if Winks can get in that team before you and you don't even get on the pitch, that's kind of saying an awful lot. And this isn't the first manager to have a problem with the guy. You know, like I say, all the ones I've mentioned, he's played for all of them, and none of them seem to fancy him or feel that he's going to actually achieve anything. So, yeah, that's a little bit of a disappointment. But, you know, I think he's done. I think it's time for him to move on back to France, back to an easier league where he can kind of, you know, showboat or whatever, and perhaps take it a little bit easier. I think the work rate that he's expected in England is too much for him. I don't think he's got the heart or the inclination even to do it. So yeah, so that was my view of the game. Poor first half, better second half. Still not great football. But what can you do in the space of a couple of weeks? Not an awful lot, to be fair, especially when you've still got the same players that you had all the way through, and all the other managers have had. So, you know, it's not gonna sort itself out overnight, and I think we need to be a bit more patient, which isn't really a football fan's forte. Being patient, we tend to have very little patience for this kind of thing. We want our success to be instant, but when you've been starved of it for so long, I think, you know, we probably need to sort of think about things a little bit more, calm down and take our time and see what happens. But I would like to deny the rumours that the Dorset Python, as you may not have seen on Twitter, is one of our members. If he is, I'll be surprised. I don't know. Anyway, enough of all that. Enough of all that rumour and innuendo. It's definitely not me. Up the Spurs.